In this lesson, we're going to talk about radians. So just like distance can be measured multiple ways, like in inches or in centimeters, depending on if you're using imperial or metric, angles can be measured in multiple ways. So far we have only measured angles in degrees, but there's another unit of measurement for angles, and that's radians. So to convert between radians and degrees, we're going to use one of the following formulas. If I know the number of radians, I'll multiply it by 180 over pi to get the number of degrees. If I know the number of degrees, I'll multiply it by pi over 180 to get the number of radians. Essentially, if you know that there's a pi already in the problem, we're going to multiply by pi on the bottom to get rid of it. If there was no pi in the problem, we're going to multiply by pi on top to get it there. So for example 1, to convert radians to degrees, we already have a pi in this, so I know when I multiply, I'm going to be multiplying by with a pi on the bottom, so they cancel, and it's 180 over pi. So I have a few options here. We already know the pi's are gone, so I'm done with that. I could either try to reduce here, because it's not equal. This is not butterfly method. This is just two fractions being multiplied, so it becomes 3 times 180 over 2. So I could choose to try to reduce this first, or I could just multiply 3 times 180 and get 540. And 540 over 2 is 270. All right, instead I could have done 180 over 2 is 90, and 3 times 90 is 270. So we're going to do the same thing for b. We're going to multiply by 180 over pi. So those pi's are gone. And I have really 180 times 1 over 6 times 1, so 180 over 6. So we get 30 degrees. So here's some for you to try. Pause. Answers are posted on Google Classroom. Example 2, we're now going to convert the degrees into radians. So for these, we're going to multiply by pi over 180 because there was no pi in it to cancel out on the bottom, so I need to introduce pi on the top. So again, I have multiple ways I could think of this. I know that there's going to be a pi in the answer, so I'm really doing 15 over 180, and my answer will be times by pi. So this is really just reducing fractions. Both of these divide by 15, so it's 1 over 12, so it's 1/12 pi radians. Or you could write it as pi over 12. 1/12 pi is the same as pi over 12. Okay, those are equal. So for 300, if I multiply by pi over 180, we're really dealing with 300 over 180 times pi. So we already know the zeros cancel, so it's really 30 over 18. Those divide by 6, so 5 over 3. So 5/3 pi radians. So there are 2 left here for you to try. Check your answers on Google Classroom. But that's it for radians.